Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Library System. And I've recently been looking at some abstract art, and I thought maybe we could incorporate some of that into one of, or maybe more later, of our jewelry pieces. And I've started working on it, and I really like it. So what I thought we would do is what I'm calling an abstract cubic link bracelet. So we're going to take some rectangle stones. I'm using zoisite because I have just fallen in love with it. Let's see if I can get a good shot of it up here. Yeah. So we're using these little rectangle bars, and I'm also using some 4mm rounds as well. So we're going to use that, and we're going to create some links to put everything together into a bracelet. The focal pieces are going to consist of the rectangles, and we're going to wrap those, and then we're going to make some triangular shaped links with the little rounds. So let's get started. The tools that you'll need are our usuals: round nose pliers, which have the round little arms sticking out here. Square pliers, which they're called chain link pliers, square pliers, and they're called that because even though they're slightly rounded on the outside, the inside of it is completely flat, so that gives you a nice square shape, which you're going to see today. And then we have our cutters, which just cut the wire. So they're called cutters. Some people call them snips. I think that's in Britain. So that's what we need today, along with our 4mm rounds. And our what size are these bars? These are about 13mm. That's an odd shape. Maybe it's 14. About 14mm, these little rectangles, bars that I'm using. And we'll need some jump rings and 20 gauge wire for our wraps and our links. So let's get down here and get going so that we can see how this is going to turn out. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do is make our wrapped bead. And I used this technique for a pair of earrings that we did, but I used a round bead. I didn't use this kind of rectangle shape. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with this kind of wrap. So let's start with that. So what we're going to need is about 8 inches of 20 gauge wire. Let's cut that. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my rectangle bead. And slide that on. Oh, and see, this is the zoisite. I really, really love the colors in this. Isn't that great? So pretty. Let me see if I can get up here a little closer and clearer. Oh, so pretty. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is slide my bead down to about the center of the wire. You can measure if you want to. I just kind of eyeball it. And then I'm going to take my round pliers and I'm going to make a little loop. It just needs, and you don't even have to use your pliers. You can use your fingers. I just need about 1/4 of an inch of space right up here, just beyond my little bar. And the amount of space that you give yourself depends on how you want it to look. There's no specific measurement for that. And what I'm going to do, because this is square, I'm going to make my little bend in here square as well. So I'm going to go up about 1/4 of an inch away from the top of my bead, and I'm going to bend just like that. Then I'm going to go down here to the other end, and I'm going to bend it in the opposite direction, also about 1/4 of an inch away. Just like that. So I have that, and then I'm going to bend that over like so, and the same on the other side. Just like that. So I have kind of an S going here, kind of an S shape. So now I want to wrap around the bead. So I'm going to bring my wire in, one of the tails of wire in. Again, I want to make sure I keep that distance on the ends of my bead, so I need to hold that. I'm going to wrap one tail around. And up one side, like so. Keep that distance there. Then I'm going to bring it around the other side, like so. Just around itself. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think I have enough wire. I used the same amount that I used when I used a little round bead, and that's not enough. So I'm going to have to start again. Don't you just love it when I make mistakes? I don't. It's embarrassing. So let me go ahead and change that 8 inches of wire to, I'm going to make it 12. And if I have to cut some off, so be it. So I'm going to give myself 12 inches of wire. I'm on the last of this spool. Ooh, I might have to start another spool. Yeah, I think I will. I'll save that for something else. Okay, so 12 inches of wire here. Boom, boom, there we go. Cut that, oops, cut that off. And let's go again. Grab my bead, slide the bead on about halfway down. And you can measure it if you want to. If you want to measure, you're more than happy. You're more than able to do that. So I'm going to give it a bend over to one side and then bend off to the other side. And no, I did not use my pliers to do it because this is very malleable wire and you don't really need to. So now I've got this little S shape going here. And again, you can make this, give yourself more distance. As a matter of fact, I will, just to show you. So I had about 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to make it a little more than that, maybe about 3/8 of an inch. Just exaggerate it a little bit. And that will just determine how big your bead ends up being. So now here's what I have. Okay. I'm going to bend that like so. So it's a nice loose wrap around one side of my bead, and then do the same with the other one. So this is what I have. Just a little S. Okay. So now I'm going to wrap around the bead itself. Just ignore this wire here and go to the top of my bead and bring my wire around over the top, down the side, and over the other side, like so. So this is what I've got. I'm going to bring this down a little closer. There we go. So that's what I have so far. Just a nice little loose wrap around the bead. Now I'm going to bring it down the last side like that. So I have a full wrap around the bead. And this is very loose. It's not supposed to be tight. It's just a very loose wrap. And now I'm going to take the other wire, the longer wire that I haven't done anything with yet, and I'm going to wrap that around this wire. So it's just following it. And I'm going to bring that wire around again. And this wire follows it. So I'm just, I don't know if you've ever made the roses. It's the same premise. You're kind of just wrapping the wire around itself. Or if you've ever done a spiral, which is basically what this is. Bring that around. Very loose. And you can decide how many wraps you want. That's plenty. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to take this wrap away. So these are my wraps. And I've just got 2 wraps on each side. 1, 2, and then the outer frame. 1, 2, and the outer frame. So that's what I have. And so now what I'm going to do is wrap one of the tails of wire around the outer frame. So I'm just going to bring that across and around the back, just like that. So that's what I have. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And you can see this side, I didn't open it up as much. I think I'll do that right now with my pliers, square it off a bit. There, so it looks a little more like this side. And this is very free form, so don't beat yourself up if it doesn't look exactly the same. So I'm going to wrap this wire around the front like that. And you can make whatever adjustments you need to make. Scoot the bead over a little bit if you want to. But this is what I have so far. Very, very free form. And I'm going to push this wire down just a little bit. Oops. There. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just bring this around to the back. This is my front, or this can be the front if you want the bead to be more visible. Push that down and bring that around. And this side is a much shorter. I wish it was a little longer, but I don't want to make a big spiral like I did on my round ones when I did my earrings. I just want to make a small spiral so that I can tuck that in. And this side is a lot longer. So what I'm going to do is cut this down to about 3/4 of an inch to match this side. I'm sorry, I don't know why I have a frog in my throat, but I do. So this side, I'm going to cut down to match the length of this side, which is about, it looks like about 1/2 inch, a little more than 1/2 inch. Snip that off because that's all I need to make my little loop. Okay. And then I'm going to make a spiral. So I'm going to bring my round nose pliers into this now. And I'm just going to make a little spiral. I'm going up and around. like so. Just a little spiral like that. Oops, I just pulled my camera off of my little stand. Let's see if we can get it back on there without making you dizzy. Okay, so here we go. There's my little spiral right there, my little loop, and I'm just going to push it down into my little frame. That's not sticking up and in the way. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm just going to take the tip of my pliers and grab that tip of my wire, like so. And I'm going to make a loop going up and around. And I can cut a little bit off. This is a little longer than I need, so I'm going to cut a little bit of that loop off. And redo it. There we go. And I just want that little loop to go right down in there, like that. It's kind of popped up a little bit, so I'm just going to take my pliers and tuck it down. And there's my little bead, my little cubist bead. And you can make this the front, you can make this the front. It depends on your tastes. But this is it. A nice free-form, freestyle wrap bead that I'm going to use to make a bracelet. And here are the others. And I think I'm going to go with the wrap side being my front, just because I really want to show that off. Okay, now let's move on to the links, because we're going to make some square links. And I saw somebody do something with rubber pliers that are square pliers. And I thought that was really neat, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So what we're going to do is make some little links to attach to our focal point. And I'm going to use this little piece of wire that I cut off because I think it might be enough. Let's see, shall we? I hope I don't have another, nah, it needs to be about 2.5 inches. And this is just under. I don't want to make a fool of myself again and not have enough. So let's see what we got here. This is the piece that I had that wasn't long enough. Let's use that. Okay, so I need 2.5 inches for my length. There we go. Cut that off. And I'm going to grab my little 4mm Zozite. Isn't that cute and so pretty? Looks very AKA-ish. Except the green might be a little darker than that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is measure this. I do want to measure about 3/4 of an inch from the end. Let's go this way. Give myself about 3/4 of an inch. Okay. And put my pliers right there where my thumb is. This is the 3/4 of an inch mark. And this is the bottom of my pliers. And I'm just going to give myself a small turn on this because it doesn't need to be too big an opening. So I'm going to go just about 1/8 of an inch down my pliers to make a small bend. So there's my first bend. And then without moving the wire up or down my pliers, I'm going to open my pliers up and turn them on the side like so and make another bend. So now this is what I have. And I'm going to open my pliers again, turn them again towards me, grasp my wire again, and I'm going to make another bend. Oops, just like that. So now this is what I have. My camera's too close and I can't even. There we go. So now this is what I have. Ta-da! This little square. Normally this would be round, but I wanted it to be squared off, and that's what I did. So now I just need to straighten this long wire out. Now, when you hold on to this, you don't want to hold it too tight because you don't want to mar your wire. I have these flat pliers that I like because I can hold the wire nice and steady without worrying about putting any dents in it. And these are really big and flat. You can use those if you want, if you have them, or you can use your regular chain nose pliers. Just use the larger part of it. Now I'm going to bend this wire, this long wire, like so that now my open part is centered on top of it. And now I'm going to bend the short wire towards my pliers until it's at a right angle, like that. And now I'm going to wrap that short tail of wire around the long stem one time. I only need one wrap, just like that. And then I can cut that tail off. Nice and close. Snip that off. Get rid of that little piece and push down that little end. Nice and close to the stem. Now I'm going to put my bead on. Slide my bead on there. There's a little drill part. Just like that. And now I'm going to make a little opening on the other side. And what I like to do is just bend it back a little bit. You want both of your loops, I'm calling them loops even though they're square loops, to go the same direction. So this is flat, so I'm going to bend it flat like so that when I make my loop, it's also going to be flat. Then I'm going to grab my pliers again, and you can't bend it too much, otherwise you can't get your pliers in as close as you need them. As close as I can get to the bead. And again, I'm only about 1/8 of an inch or so away from the end of my pliers. And I'm going to bend in this direction. Again, this is flat, so I want this one to also be flat. So I'm going to bend over my pliers, nice sharp bend, just like that. And I'm going to open my pliers, rotate, grab my wire again without sliding my wire up or down. I'm going to bend it around the pliers again, just like that. And then last time, I'm going to open, clamp down, and bend one more time. And there we go. Here's my other square loop. I don't know if you can call it a loop. It isn't really. Loops are round. But there it is. And now I just need to wrap it. And I'm going to grab these pliers again, hold on to the face of my loop, and wrap that tail around one time. I'm sorry about the sirens outside of my window. Okay, cut that off. Now, I wrapped one time. If you want to wrap 2 times, 3 times, that's entirely up to you, but I'm just giving it one wrap because that's all I really need. And then I'm going to clip this tail off. Nice and close. Go to that end and push that little tip down and out of the way. Oops. Did I get it? I don't think I pushed it down enough. Oh, there it is. Let's give it another little squeeze. There we go. And there's my little link. And then if you see that it needs to be kind of adjusted a little bit, you can do that. But there's my little link. Isn't that cute? I already have a couple more made, a few more made. So these are my little links that are going to attach my centerpiece beads. Isn't that neat? It's just a little different. Just a little bit different. I mean, we do round all the time. Now this is just slightly rounded. Okay, so let's go ahead and start putting together our pieces. All right, so you want to measure because you want to make sure it's going to fit your arm. So the number of links that you make depends on that. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some jump rings. Let's open up some jump rings, and the proper way to open a jump ring is how you put there's several ways. One pair of pliers on one side of the jump ring and your thumb on the other, and just push it open until you have a nice opening there that you can slide anything on that you need. Another way to do it is to put one pair of pliers on one side of the opening, which is right here, and another pair of pliers on the other side, and twist, just like you kind of did with your thumb. Just twist it. There you go. So that the tips are just, they're apart, but they're still together, so that when you close it up, all you have to do is squeeze it and then make a little adjustment, and you still have a perfectly round jump ring. You never want to just pull the ends apart, because then you'll ruin your circle. Okay. And another way to do it is just take your fingers on each side of the opening and twist. And if you have jump rings that are big enough that you can hold them like that, there you go. Just twist it open. All right, let's do one more. Go ahead and get them all open. Okay, and let's start attaching. I've already got these 3 attached. So I'm going to attach the last one. Make sure it's hanging right. Yeah. So I'm going to attach the last one. That's going to be in the center here with my jump rings. And all I want to do, I'm going to use my pliers so you can see, is grab my jump ring and slide it through the frame of my bead. And then grab the other one and slide that through the frame. And when you do this, you want to make sure that the backs, decide what your front or your back is going to be. My front is going to be the part with the most wrap on it. When you put it on your jump ring, you want to make sure that either the backs are together or the fronts are together, so that when you close your jump ring, both of your fronts will be on the same side. And for some reason, this one doesn't look like it is. So let's just open that up and fix it. And I'll show you that again. So let's take this one off. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take the jump ring off and just start again. So here is the front. And here's the front of this one. So I'm going to grab my jump ring and I'm going to slide it on front to back on one of them. And the other one, I'm going to slide that one on back to front. So I have the two backs facing each other. There they are. Close that up. Make sure everything is nicely closed and flush together. And there we go. Now let's go ahead and attach the links. Let's grab another jump ring. These aren't directional, so it doesn't really matter front or back. There's no front or back for them. So just slide one link opening through the jump ring and attach that to the other link. Close that up. Let's do another one. Grab a jump ring. Slide that in and slide on another link. Close it up. Okay. Good. Let's go to the other side. So I think that's all I need on this side. Okay. And slide my jump ring in the frame of my centerpiece. And one of the links on, close it. And let's grab another jump ring and another link. Open that up, slide that in, and attach it to this link. Close it up. And this is what we have so far. Now I'm going to measure and see if it looks long enough so that I can make my hook, which I'm also going to make with one of my 4mm beads, because I like my, oh, yes, good. I like my hooks to look like the rest of the bracelet. And my arm is about 7.5 inches, and this is almost 7.5 inches. So yeah, that's going to be good. It'll be a little loose, but I don't mind it too loose. Some people like theirs very, very shifty. I usually like mine a little tighter, but I think this is going to be good. It's not going to be too much. So let's grab another little 4mm bead, and now we're going to make a hook. And I'm going to use this little extra piece of wire. No, I'll use this one that came off the spool, nice and long. And I'm going to need to make my little hook, and we're going to hook it right in one of the ends here, which is great because it's wrapped, so I don't need an additional loop on that side. So I just need about 2.5 inches of wire. Let's see, 1, 2, and then my little bead goes on. And that, it really depends on the size of your bead and the size hook that you want. So this is not an exact measurement. I just know I need about 1 inch on each side of my hook, which makes it 2 inches. And then I need about 1/4 of an inch for my bead and another inch for my wrap. So I'm going to give myself 3 inches. So that'll be 1, 2 1/4 and 3 1/4. That should be just fine. So I'm going to give myself 3 1/4. And if I have to cut some off, that's fine. So I'll give myself 3 1/4. If you want to make it 3 1/2 just to be safe, be my guest, because you won't be cutting too much off. So there really won't be too much waste. All right. So I'm going to measure about 1 inch of wire, about an inch. And I'm going to fold the wire over right at that inch mark. So now I have a long tail and a short tail. And then I'm going to grab my pliers. I'm going to grab these white ones because it makes things very easy. And I'm going to squeeze these two arms here together. I want them nice and close, side by side. And you can do it this way, but I always end up with a little indentation in the front that I don't necessarily want. So I go long ways. It's a little more labor intensive, but I just like the outcome better. So I take my time, squeeze very slowly, nice and easy. Don't try to rush it because that'll happen. And I don't want it to turn. So now I have a nice 2 pieces of wire, nice and close together. So now I want about 3/4 of an inch from the tip for my actual hook. So there's my 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to go down here to the bottom here, and I'm going to bend the rest of that wire up. I can grab it. I'll use my pliers for that. This little tip, I'm going to bend it straight up like that. Boom. So now this is what I have. And then I'm going to grab my wire again, and I'm going to hold those 2 pieces of wire together nice and close. And I'm going to wrap this little tail around that long stem. One time, just to be consistent with my other wraps. Just going to give it one wrap around. Now, usually you do several wraps if you're using thinner wire, but this is 20 gauge. It's going to hold very nicely, thank you very much, with just one wrap. Now, do I need to clip anything off? I don't think so. I think I can just squeeze that little tail down. I'll clip a little bit of it off because I like my little tip to rest right here in between these 2 wires. So I'm going to take the tiniest bit off of the tip. Okay, and then push that down against the tail of the wire, the long stem here. Nice and close. There we go. Now I'm going to grab my little 4mm bead and feed it on. If I can find the little opening, where's the drill? There it is. Okay, slide that on. And now we're going to make our little square. And now I want my long hook part. I want the wires to be side by side and flat. So they're side by side and flat, not side by side and up and down. So keep that flat. Bend my wire just a little bit to the side. This is side by side. This is bent to the side. And I'm going to grab my pliers. And I'm going to slide my wire down just like I did before, about 1/8 of an inch from the tip. And I'm going to put a bend over my pliers, just like that. Then I'm going to open my pliers again without sliding my wire down. I'm going to rotate and clamp back down. and bend my wire over my pliers. Now, the way you know how far that you need to go is because this short length is going the same direction as the long length. So if this was long, it would be going like this, if that makes sense. And then I need to make one more little bend. I'm going to rotate over to the long stem again, and I'm going to bend that over my pliers, just like that. And I have my little square. Isn't that neat? I just love it. Okay, and let's wrap that up. Just wrap that around. And if you want to wrap that one a couple more times, you can, just be a little decorative on top of your bead, but you don't have to. You can keep it consistent with the others. It's entirely your choice. I'm going to give it one little extra wrap just so I can have a little cap on my bead. And I'm going to cut that off. Again, I want the tip to rest right here in the middle of my loop, of my square loop. Because I find if it's out here to the side, even if it's cut off, that little end tends to scratch on things, and I don't like that. I don't think you will either. So I'm going to cut that off nice and close so that when the end will end up right here in the middle of my loop. And that is really short. I'm not going to be able to hold it. So I'm going to grab my little spool here, turn that down in there, and snip it off. And there it is, down there at the bottom. And then I'm going to push that little tail down nice and close. There we go. And there's the start of it. Now I'm going to make my little hook. So the first thing I'm going to do, I like the end, which is right here, to be underneath. Close that up a little tighter. So there's the end under here. Yeah. So I'm going to just bend back my little two pieces of wire like that. And then I'm going to go to the tip and grab either your round nose pliers or your square pliers and just grab the tip, just the tip of it. And I'm going to bend that up just a little bit. And now this is what I have, a little bend. Then I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to slide my little wire just under that little beak that I just made, about an eighth, maybe a 16th of an inch, an eighth of an inch, that little bit sticking out. And I'm going to rotate my pliers and keep rotating until I have a shepherd's hook. And there we have it. Here's my little hook. If I need to adjust my little square a little bit, I can do that. So it's a little more upright. There we go. There's my hook. Isn't that neat? Let's attach it. So I've got 3 links on one side and 2 links on the other side, and this is going to be my 3rd link. That was the whole plan. And so let's go ahead and attach it with the jump ring. Let's open that up. Slide that on. Slide on my hook, just right there in the little loop. Just slide that on the jump ring. And close it. There we go. And here's my bracelet. A little bit of abstract art. Let's try it on. Okay. And that just hooks right into that little link. And it is a little bigger than I usually like, but that's okay. There it is. There's my bracelet. What do you think about that? I love it. It really does look like a piece of art. Oh my gosh, every time I look at it, I see something different. And the wraps, and the loops, and the square links. Oh my gosh, and I love the colors in this. So it's like, what do you think, ladies and gents? Let's take a look at it in the big camera. There it is. There's my bracelet. What do you think about that? Get out of my way. There we go. What do you think? It really does look like abstract art. I love it. I am going to be doing some more of this because I love these little squared off links. Aren't they great? I'm so used to doing everything round, and to be able to do something just a little bit different. Oh, I love it. I think once we actually did some square spirals for earrings or something like that. And I've been wanting to do this for a while, and it just wouldn't let go of me. So this is it. This is our bracelet. And those of you who get kits, I've got a lot of different semi-precious beads that we're going to be using. Oh, so pretty. So you're going to get the little bars, you're going to get the 4mm rounds, and enough wire, obviously, to make this bracelet. And I'm probably going to revisit this for a necklace or something, because I love this. I especially love these little links. And I think we can do more with that. I think we can use larger beads and make these links, these small little squared off links, be part of the focal. So I will be doing this again at some point. But there's my bracelet, and there's your bracelet. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that you'll make this. I hope that you will also contact me and let me know what you think, what you thought of the video. If there's anything you didn't understand, please contact me at jewelrygin20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. You can also leave comments on the library Facebook page. That's facebook.com/decab library. That's facebook.com/DEKALBLIBRARY. Leave us a comment under the tutorial post and let us know what you thought. Show us your pictures. I would love to see that. If you want to send the pictures to my Facebook page, my Gmail account, that's what it's there for. I love to see those, and I will post them on the Facebook page for you if you would like. Either way, just contact me. I love hearing from you, and I would love to know what you think and get your feedback. So until next time, again, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you later on. Bye-bye. If I can. Let's try that again, shall we? Okay, I hope to see you later on. Bye-bye.